Hello and welcome to the Board Game Barbecue Podcast, the Merry Christmas edition. Merry Christmas!
Christmas.
Well, Christmas Eve, technically. This is when this is going live. But Merry Christmas to all our fantastic listeners out there. If you want to watch us in this episode, you can catch us on YouTube because we're filming it, or you can keep listening to us on the podcast. That's totally fine as well. We haven't got everyone in today because, Christmas is kind of a busy time. So at the moment, we have, going around the horn, we've got Connor Devine. How you doing?
Good. Thank you, Steve, and Merry Christmas to you, your family, and all of our listeners out there.
Thank you very much. And Adrian, what's going on?
Christmas. I love it. I love Christmas. All my stuff's wrapped. I'm so excited. Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Awesome. Def, how you going?
Yeah, I'm good. Merry Christmas to everyone. Looking forward to it.
Mike?
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, everyone. G'day, Steve.
G'day, mate. And then we've got Mitch up in the top right corner. How you doing, bud?
Hey, highways. I mean, Christmas. Yeah, yeah. I've just driven back from Brisbane today, so, knocked a few hours on the blacktop.
Was that legal? Was that strictly legal for you to come back, or...?
Yeah, no, they're happy to give me the virus. They just want me to take it back.
Yeah. We were so glad that he left. It was awesome. I was there at the thing waving a flag like,
Get out,
don't come back.
Shoo, Sydney people. Shoo.
Now, there might be some other people jump in throughout the episode. There might not be as well, but we'll, if there ever is, I'll stop and introduce whoever jumps in. But tonight, we're doing a bit of a different episode. It's not a normal episode. There's no oaths. There is a bracket battle resolution, but there's no bracket. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. There's a very big bracket battle to set up. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I was like, what?
And as far as our sizzling games go, we're going to leave that be for the moment. We'll talk about games, and we'll probably talk about games that are sizzling if we want to. But the big thing we're going to do tonight is because we're about to announce the bracket battle grand finalist, we're going to go through the bracket from game one, round one, and give our opinions on which one we think should go through, just to see how different or similar it is to what the community has voted through to the final. Now, I've got no issue with the community so far, except for one particular game that's in the semi-finals. Other than that, I think
can it be a little bit like TI4? Can I bargain and get votes from Connor for later on in the game?
I heard you talk about TI4 enough, thanks, Adrian. I don't need to hear about it anymore. So
I'd be like, if I vote for your game, will you vote for my game later on? Then you backstab me and be like, nah, I'm not voting for you.
You don't even vote for your games.
Exactly. I need the votes. I need to bargain, man.
So good. But before we get into that, we'll just have a quick chat about what's going on in the next couple of days. I know if people who aren't patrons might not have heard, but we've been doing a 12 pods of Christmas over the last 12 days where we've just talked about Christmas and what we do and what our plans are. But maybe we talk about a little bit of that before we get started. So I'll just go around if anyone wants to jump in on whether games are a part of your Christmas tradition or whether you're going to try and make them a part of your Christmas tradition this year. Does anyone want to jump in with to kick us off?
I'll go. I definitely want to make it a tradition. Yeah, shock. Well, no one put their hand up. Steve, you played the mind. You played the mind with me the other day, and I was like, I'm not waiting.
You played the mind that I watched.
I just placing cards straight away. I'm on the 50. That's it. That's halfway. I gave you 5 seconds.
Sorry. We need to discuss this first because Mitch was there. Adrian, MJ, and I were playing the mind. I've explained the game. We're ready to go. You guys all know how to play the mind, right?
I've heard about it.
For those who aren't sure, you've got a deck of cards 0 to 100. Everyone draws a couple of cards. I think the first round you draw one card, second draw. I think this was the first round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first round. Right? So one card, right? And what you're doing is amongst the group, you're trying to place those cards down the middle of the table from lowest to highest. And you can't talk. So all you do is say go, and then you've got to try and figure out when is the appropriate time to play your card. So I've said go, and it's been 4 seconds, and Adrian plays 78.
It's too slow.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Adrian.
Yeah, I've lost where I was, but yeah, I want to definitely make it a Christmas tradition, especially because our family don't really play like heavier, not necessarily heavier games, but modern games. So we want to introduce that, maybe play one game a year or something. We played Codenames last year. It was really successful. We had a great time, a great laugh playing it. But this year we will play the Quacks of Quedlinburg with the Herbwitch expansion, so we can play a 5-player. And there's another game. Oh, we're going to play Don't Get Got. So once everyone rocks up on Christmas Day, we're all going to assign that. And Finn obviously can't read, but I'm just going to have to help him do his a little bit, like, so he can remember what they are and go from there. So yeah, that's our plan. So
that's cool. I'm starting to get that sort of stuff in now. Like in my family, it's become known if Michael's coming to an event, he's bringing games, and what games has he brought? So I'm starting to instill that within my family who aren't normally gamers. So I'll have my game bag full of like mostly party games, nothing too big or too heavy, something I can involve as many people as I can in. But yeah, definitely, I think every year now I'm going to be bringing a whole bag of games just to try to talk people into it.
Nice. Anyone else?
Yeah, we, even before I was really a board game collector, we always got board games for Christmas. And yeah, ever since I guess I've been buying games, so I guess like the last 6 or 8 years, it's just always what games has Connor bought, let's play them. Sometimes they're games that we've played before. So I'll have to put it up on the community page, but I took a video of when your family asks you to bring some games, and there was about 30 that I had to fit in my bag. So it's I'll put that up so people can see it. But yeah, it's just been part of what we do, whether it's a gift or whatever. And I'm at my family home in Kilmore, so I've made the trek up from Warrnambool, so we're here now, and looking forward to playing some games.
I really like how you said they're a board game collector instead of a board
Connor. I did notice that as well. That's how he uses it as an excuse to just buy more, not play them and not get them played. Like ever.
It just gives me an excuse to have a ginormous shelf of shame. So
that's it.
We're doing the same thing. We want to try and start the tradition this year, and because it's going to be just us four, I think we might try to introduce it, from each individual person point of view. Like, what game does my oldest daughter want to play, and what game does the youngest one want to play, and then what game we want to play individually, and then we'll see what options we come up with, and maybe we play all of them, and they sort of become an annual tradition for Christmas Day. But looking forward to it.
Yeah, we just not really big gamers, my family. I mean, I think when we were kids, we used to. I think my sister and I used to get a game each. We'd sort of crack those out and we'd play those together. But haven't really played much as we've sort of become adults and things like that. But now we've got the kids around, and they get sort of getting to the age where they can probably get into it a bit more. Maybe have a look at busting a few things out. I know that I'm halfway through Pandemic Legacy Season 1 with my son and my nephew. So he'll be over. Maybe we can crack a few episodes of that out, get a few months under our belt.
Adrian, you'll be happy because we're going to continue, myself, my mum, my sister, and my niece continue our Jaws of the Lion campaign over the next couple of days. So, yeah.
We have 2 game days booked with our group on the 28th, I think, and 29th. So we're going to smash a whole bunch of those scenarios then. So, just quickly, one other thing before we move on. I went to Target today, and the board game shelves were bare. There were hardly any board games. And I went there maybe 5 days ago, and they had 10 copies of Pandemic sitting there. And I was kind of jokingly aside being like, no one's going to buy that. Like, not here kind of thing. It's going to, most people will be buying that online and stuff. But I was surprised to find that there were none on the shelf.
Do you think that's where people are going when they can't get toilet paper in the other aisle?
Not Pandemic, man. I'm not having that.
No, that would be nice.
Yeah. But like they also had, I think maybe like 10 to 15 copies of Exploding Kittens in like a box. And they were all gone. Like I was pleasantly surprised. And there was still heaps of Monopoly and still heaps of those other games still on the shelf, but those modern games are getting picked up.
Well, didn't someone say Big W's now got an online range of
that was us this
board
morning,
games as well? So it's
finally starting to get into normal culture, I guess.
Mm.
Well, this is really weird. So in Warrnambool, in the IGA, the Independent Grocers of Australia, they had Pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, but they're hooky copies. Those they're not real. It's
hey, look, but then again, IGA, they're all like, aren't they all like kind of like privately franchised? Yeah. So that's probably just someone who's a board gamer who owns it. It's like,
it's one of our members from Warrnambool.
That'd be great. How about you, Steve? Are you planning on losing a game of Quacks this Christmas?
Oh, sure.
Tradition, mate.
I know that my and again, I have to watch what I say because some of my family listen to the podcast, not many, but some. So I do know of some games that are being passed around at Christmas under the tree that might get a look in. But one of the things I'm doing, which I've been looking forward to pretty much all year, is when the kids wake up on Christmas Day, I'm going to have the biggest pitch car track set up in my house, just everywhere. I've been collecting it all year, and I've got as much as I could afford to get. So that'll be set up. I mean, they know that I own it. It's not like it's going to be a present, but it's just going to be like, hey, this is what happens on Christmas now.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Like I said, the winner gets to open a present. Second, maybe. Third, fourth, you get nothing. You get nothing.
But
didn't even qualify.
I'm actually heading to my sister's house, and they visited us on the weekend. And my brother-in-law I think I've talked about it in the past, he's not a big board gamer. He's not a board gamer at all. But I said to him, I'm going to try and get you to like some games because I likened it to the Beatles. I think that everyone likes a song by the Beatles, even if they don't think they do. Like there's a song by the Beatles out there for everybody. And I think that's board games. I think there is a board game out there for everyone. You just got to find the right match for the right person. And we played Skull with him and my sister, my wife, and couple of my nephews. And he messaged me afterwards and said, "Feel free to bring a couple of games like Skull. It was a winner." So I'm like, yes. So I'm gonna bring Point Salad and maybe Just One, like just some real light, easy, fun games. So hopefully.
I like it.
Does anyone mind if I just jump in with a slight change of topic here because I think it's important. And it's something that I noticed whilst driving home today, and I listened to a couple of the episodes I was behind on. Steve, on not the last podcast, but the podcast before, had 3 oaths to complete, right? If everyone remembers, it was Dwellings of Eldervale, Lorenzo Il Magnifico.
He was not happy with this at all.
You're right.
And Silver and Gold, right? Now, on the next episode, he got on and went, I'm done. I did Silver and Gold. And on the last one, like the second last one, he did Dwellings of Eldervale, but still had the others to do. And then he came, and Lorenzo Il Magnifico, Il Mag vanished.
Disappeared
out of the list of, that's on my own. So I think Steve has been doing a little bit of the sneaky.
You know what?
Lorenzo, Steve.
You don't have to believe me, but I had totally forgot that was on my I played so much Dwellings of Eldervale that everything's just kind of molded into one. But if we're going to bring that up, Mitch, I don't know how many
I don't know where this is going, but it doesn't sound good. Yes.
I'm fairly certain someone out of our 6
that's me.
Pledged an oath to play Blackout Hong Kong.
I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be right back. You just...
that might have been on his first episode that he pledged that oath.
Like episode 15 or something. Yeah, for sure.
No, I'll definitely do it. Man, I've been so busy and it's so hard. I spoke to you about that. It's just
busy for 6 months.
I don't know.
A big project.
Given that you both live in Brisbane, it's time for a meetup to play Blackout Hong Kong and Lorenzo Il Magnifico.
Well, I'll tell you this, Mitch. I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but I went crazy on oaths. I've got June Imperium. I can't even remember them now. Dice Throne.
Is that how you just sweep them aside? I don't remember those.
Yeah, that's right.
Under the mat.
Dice Throne, Dune Imperium and Calico. I'll add Lorenzo Il Magnifico. So
add it. It's already there.
You'll bring it back.
It's back in my memory. I'll get it done.
I guess I could add it.
I apologize to the Oath dwellers of the podcast.
I'm surprised someone didn't pick it up in the Discord or in the community. I think the only reason I've noticed.
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking, and then you mentioned. I'm like, oh yeah.
I think the only reason I picked it up was because I listened to them in reverse order. So I listened to I think I listened to it was 61 today, or yesterday, and then I went back and listened to the other one. So I was kind of like, oh, hang on. I might not have noticed otherwise.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, I've been sprung. Very good. All right. Well, it's good that Adrian still has Black at Hong Kong though, because that's an easy get out for me there. It's not so bad.
It's not easy to get it out. Trust me. I don't know, man. There's just something about it. I've really struggled with the instructions and the way it plays. So
that's Alexander Pfister, right?
Yeah, it
Black
is.
at Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it looks great, and I loved the theme and stuff. I just really struggled to actually just play it. Like it's really it's not. I don't know. It's not overly complex. I think it's like a 3.8 or a 3.6 or something. Like it's not ridiculous, but it's just the way it works.
Man, the way that's like a PhD for Mike. So you know that you got to be careful when you talk about.
Hey, I've played some bigger games.
That's shots fired from old
12-minute dungeon. He's played 12-minute dungeon, mate. Leave him alone.
Sorry.
Oh, I saw a photo of Mitch playing 5-minute dungeon, if I'm not mistaken.
He didn't. That was photoshopped.
It was a fantastic photo.
Sure it was. Sure it was.
So stressed. It was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm playing this game.
I was playing Lords of Waterdeep, and I was getting obliterated by Dave and Shane, so I was under a lot of stress.
And then someone slid a box in front of him and took a photo.
That's fantastic.
All right, I reckon we get into it, guys. I reckon we do this. This is the board game barbecue bracket, and by that I mean the podcaster's version of the board game barbecue bracket. So I'm just going to bring up the list on my screen.
Should we go through our rules for tie breaking so that people understand why they're
tie breaking? The better game wins.
Oh my god!
The heavier game wins. Is what you would say. You've got a fair chance to win most of those.
I've been thinking about this on the fly, so I might have changed it slightly. So feel free to vote me down on this. But if there's a tie, if one of the people, one of us six has a game in that bracket, and no one, like the other game is one of the other three people, then our game goes through.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's an easy one.
That's an easy thing, Mike. You've got 1,000 games.
We all have the same amount of games in the bracket, mate. What's going on?
We're all good. Now, on top of that, if it's two people have a game and it's 3-all, then I just thought maybe we could go with the last one of those two people to lose has their game go through, or we just flip a coin.
Or we could just go with BGG rank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Whichever of the two's highest on BGG, that one goes through.
All right, I'll bring up BGG in a second tab, getting it ready to go. All right, browse all board games. I'm ready to go. Okay. There's going to be a few easy ones. There's going to be obviously progressively harder. So we'll start off with the first one. Dixit v. Bang the Dice Game. All right, hands up for Dixit. Dixit goes through. Unanimous. Righty, let's just go 1-0.
This isn't a visual medium, by the way. You have to watch the YouTube for the hands up. But we can just tell if it's a tie or if we're going to argue it out. Because I'm going to argue some of these.
And why is it not letting me? What's going on there? Play. It's not letting me update it. Okay, I'll just have to. All right, we'll just hopefully remember. Okay, next one. Oceans v. Root.
Connor.
Hands up for Oceans. Oh, hands up.
No one.
Yes.
Jules.
You're going to fight.
Jules is not
I just haven't played Oceans, okay? I'm sorry. I just haven't played it. So.
I played both, and I played Oceans with Jules. Root
He
wins.
still didn't vote. Look at him.
Well, maybe that should be the tiebreaker. If people haven't voted because they haven't played the game, they get to vote, even though they haven't played it, and they decide the outcome of the vote.
Only if it's drawn. Well, yeah. As long as I don't lose, I'm happy with that. So
That's a fair one.
I do like this idea that we have to vote even if we haven't played the game, just like on which one we'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know enough information about them. Like,
we're
all right.
addicts.
Oh, this one's a hard one. Lords of Waterdeep versus A War of Whispers. Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Lords of Waterdeep, hands up.
2.
Boys,
what are we doing? You're going down. You're going down.
Sorry, son.
4-2 to A War of Whispers.
Yeah.
War of Whispers. 4-2. That was a real. I was so close to voting for.
In all fairness, the other day when I saw you guys playing that Mitch, I did look over and be like, "Wow, I really want to give that a go." So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, Sheriff of Nottingham versus Great Western Trail. Hands up for Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, I'll vote for that one.
Oh my god, there's a split.
Wow. I play Great Western Trail and I have Sheriff and I quite like it. So that was my theory. All right. So who put Sheriff of Nottingham up on the bracket?
Connor did.
Oh, so it's a tie between Connor and Mitch.
Great Western Trail, I think, is going to win.
I'm pretty sure Great Western Trail will go through based on the BGG rankings. Yes, number 10.
Yep, okay. That's all right. I'll give you one, Mitch. Here you go. Just a nice
That was great. That was a split decision where like 3 put their hands up and I could see it. It was so fun.
On Mars versus Eclipse.
Oh.
Ooh.
Hands for On Mars.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, 4-2. All right, On Mars still goes through. So far we are exactly the same. No changes as yet.
Should we maybe say our names when we vote so that way the listeners can maybe hear it a bit better?
Sure, yeah. It was Mitch and I both voted for Eclipse and everyone else voted for On Mars there. All right, next one. Seasons versus Seventh Continent. All right, hands up for Seasons. Def votes for Seasons. No one else does. Seventh Continent goes through.
Ooh.
All right. Everyone else votes for that. All right. Next one. Pandemic Legacy versus Dinosaur Island.
Oh.
Mike's changing his mind. Look at him.
I remember that one.
That's not fair.
Right. Yeah, just for those playing at home, Dinosaur Island won this battle in the first round. Let's see the votes. Pandemic Legacy.
Yes.
I want to play
4-2. Connor and Mike don't vote for Pandemic. They keep their vote for Dinosaur Island, but it's not enough, which means we change that one.
You're right, Mike.
That was a tough one, man.
Yeah.
You're right, bro. I feel for you. You're looking pretty down there, man.
That's right, man. I just want Nemo's War to lose against 5 Minute Dungeon again. I just want to see the heartbreak live in my face.
You can pinpoint the exact moment when his heart breaks in two.
Single tear.
All right. Okay, so we've had our first change. That's our first different one. And now we're about to get down. We're not really. The next one is Arkham Horror, the living card game versus Inish.
Oh.
2 games.
What? You want me to talk about it?
Arkham Horror, the living card game. Votes for Arkham Horror.
Oh, really? Really?
And that's 5-1. Only Mike saved his vote for Inish.
Yeah, just because I didn't want Arkham Horror to go up.
I probably should have voted for Inish as well because I know that would have lost eventually.
Ill for voting for Arkham Horror, but hey.
Yes,
right. This will be interesting. Now, when we first did this, when we first started the bracket, we initially did. We were going to run 2 brackets. We were going to run the podcast bracket and then the communities bracket. So I'm interested to see how this one goes because this is Gloomhaven versus Pandemic, which we did vote on in as a group. So let's see hands for Gloomhaven. Oh, it's up 4-2. So only Mitch and Adrian vote for regular vanilla Pandemic. What's interesting is when we did that on the podcast, the result was 7-2 to Pandemic. So in that time, we've changed around enough so that Gloomhaven is a better game, because it is. Well done. I'm proud of everyone.
I think Jaws of the Lion is a better game, just generally speaking.
Not in there, Adrian. So.
No, no, right? What happened?
It wasn't released.
And then that means that Pandemic should go through.
All right. Well, you didn't. No, you did vote that way. Okay. Next up, we've got Viticulture and Vinhus. Hands up for Viticulture.
Oh!
Viticulture goes through 6 love. No, just that's our second change. That is 4-2. So only myself and Mike, was it?
Yeah,
Voted
just
for that?
because I haven't played either, so I chose the first one.
Oh, there you go.
I'd hate to be your local member for Parliament, Mike, because
Go with my gut in this setting, man. I go with my gut.
You just hope your name was Adam in that race, Connor. You'd be like, Adam, I'll do. He's at the top. Put him in.
Oh, wow. So that's our second. So we've got two changes, which is, what was it? Pandemic Legacy beating Dinosaur Island and Vinhus beating Viticulture. All right. Decrypto versus Secrets. Hands up for Decrypto. Ooh.
Oh, we got a split.
Have any of you guys got secrets in your collection?
No. So
I've got
it's a 3-all
Decrypto.
split. Connor, Mitch, and Adrian voted for Decrypto. Secrets was everyone else, but Jules isn't here to defend it, which means Decrypto goes through
Yeah.
the first time. Cartographers versus Codenames.
Oh,
Hands up for Cartographers.
yeah. Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Wow.
Cartographers gets up 6 love.
Who put code names in, though? I think it was Connor and me, wasn't it? Or was it just you?
wouldn't have, because if it was both of us, I think it would have been a set. No, maybe not. Maybe it was both of us.
No.
For the record, Cartographers lost to Codenames by 1 vote previously.
That was the one I tried to vote twice for, and it removed the vote.
Took the vote off.
Yeah.
So that's
hilarious.
pretty good. Difference. Cartographers goes through. Dead of Winter versus Through the Ages. Hands up for Dead of Winter. 1. Mitch votes for Dead of Winter, which means Through the Ages goes through, which it did. Chronicles of Crime versus Everdell. Hands up for Chronicles of Crime. Only me. So Everdell still goes through 5-1. Next up, Cosmic Encounter versus Gizmos.
Do you want my
Hands up
vote,
for-
Mike? Do you want to buy my vote for later on, mate?
I was just about to say I'm a free
all
agent
the
on this
way.
one.
Hands up for Cosmic Encounter. 2.
I think
2.
I'd like it. I think I'd like it more.
Oh,
I think I would.
third. Oh. Connor, Adrian, and Dep vote for Cosmic Encounter.
Too bad Jules isn't here to defend it.
Yeah, that's right. It goes.
He's getting absolutely hosed. by
through.
me.
Jules is-
We all love it.
There's one podcast he didn't want to miss. It's this one. All right, Gizmos goes through. That's another change. So in the top half of the draw, we've done now, and there was 4 changes. So Gizmos, Cartographers, Vinhus, and what was the other one? Pandemic Legacy. Yeah. All right. Second half of the bracket. Blood Rage v 7 Wonders Duel. Hands up for Blood Rage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Even Mitch
no.
voted for Blood Rage. How about that?
Yeah, I've said to a lot of people, I enjoy hanging crap on Jules much more than I dislike these games.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, Blood Rage won that in the initial battle. So it went through. Everyone except Mike and Def voted that way. So Mike and Def sticking up for 7 Wonders Duel, obviously because Mike put it up. Now, Aeon's End Legacy versus Azul. This is interesting. Aeon's End Legacy. Hands up. Nobody.
Hang on. So, whoa, sorry. What was that?
Aeon's End
End
Legacy versus Azul.
Oh, yeah.
Go for a
Aeon's
vote.
End.
You're still
Aeon's
gonna
End. Yeah, I'm still voting. Sarah, don't worry. I went down trying, man.
You know what's funny about that is that Azul was put in by Dan,
Yeah.
and Dan just had Legacy on his top 10.
Yeah. Probably put that in.
I actually think I would like Aeon's Legacy enough to vote for it over it, but I've played Azul and I haven't played Aeon's End at all, so that's what swings my vote.
I like it. Integrity.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to vote against a game with a game you've never played, unless the game you're voting against is Twister. That's really easy. It's the worst game in history.
That's just because I can't bend like that. I can't move. I don't like moving, so it's out.
All right, a Feast for Odin versus Mage Knight.
How did these two go up against each other? These are both great games. These are both in my top 10.
Yeah. Well, Sarah put up Mage Knight. You put up Feast for Odin.
Jeez, that's a tough one.
All right, hands up for a Feast for Odin. Whoa!
Yeah.
So everyone voted for it except for Adrian, which is interesting because wasn't it higher on your top 10, Mitch?
I think it was, but it's in the. I put it in the bracket.
That's another change.
You are not a man of integrity, Mitch.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe if I put my top 10 list together tomorrow, it'd change. I don't know. I could vote for either of those. Like they're both.
It's a Wednesday today, so where does it sit on a Wednesday?
Seeing if it was 5-1, I'll change my vote. Because Feast for Odin's still going to win.
Fair enough. So Feast for Odin goes through. My son's making loads of noise in the background. Apologies for that. Those listening at home. That's another change because Mage Knight beat Feast for Odin in the first round.
Really?
I don't like my chances in this one. Fleet the Dice Game versus Champions of Midgard. Hands up for Fleet the Dice Game.
Connor.
Yeah. Even Steve. Wow.
Steve just didn't be left out.
Steve.
I just voted against my own game. Yeah, I really liked it. Even though it's just a game about a guy sitting at the counter at a fish and chip shop, it's still a really good game.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Hey,
here he is.
Dan.
Not that I'm not happy to see Dan, but I was really hoping that was Jules because of.
Hey, Dan, we just had our first tribal council and you got voted out. Sorry, man.
So, Dan, just to give you an update, we're halfway through the first round. We're just after halfway. We've had a few changes. So the change we've had so far is that Pandemic Legacy beat Dinosaur Island. Videos beat Viticulture. Cartographers beat Codenames. And Gizmos beat Cosmic Encounter. And Feast for Odin beat Mage Knight. And Fleet the Dice Game just beat Champions of Midgard by unanimous decision.
Ask him about the matchup from before.
I tried,
really
Dan.
You'd be really happy, Dan, because Azul went through. It just beat out Aeon's Own Legacy. So yeah, that's really good for you.
His face is like, God damn it.
Yeah, Dan. So Azul, you'll be so happy it knocked out your new favorite game, Aeon's End Legacy. So, all right, we'll keep it going though. Now we've got Dice Throne versus Maximum Apocalypse. Hands up for Dice Throne.
Bye.
Yeah, even Adrian just pulled a Steve and voted against.
No, I
his
didn't.
own
I
game.
just waved bye. Oh my god, that's okay.
Picked a poor time. Everyone voted for it, apparently, except for Adrian.
Yeah,
so Dice Throne goes through. All right, here we go. Nemo's War.
Nemo's War.
Versus 5 Minute Dungeon. Are we about to lose someone? Is someone going to drop out of the podcast? All right. He's got his popcorn ready and everything. Or are those the cheese and bacon?
Look at him. He's so he's eating his bacon. He's eating the bacon bullets again.
All right.
The bacon bullets.
On the bacon. It's a stressful
Pickles with bacon bullets.
New listeners are going, what are they talking about? All right. Votes for Nemo's War.
Oh, get out of it. It doesn't count, though.
I nearly voted. I haven't played either game yet, but I feel like I'd probably rather play
I'm in the same boat, Steve. Sorry, Mike.
I nearly dropped a couple of $100 on the Kickstarter for that. I don't think I'd drop a couple of $100 on 5-minute dungeon, but I guess you could argue I don't need to because it's not that expensive.
And there is that whole I said I'd quit the podcast if it didn't.
Oh, really? Change vote.
We couldn't tell what you were saying because your mouth was full of pickles and bacon bullets. We thought you were like, just rambling.
I thought that was just a bullion cube you were putting in your mouth.
He's eating Scrabble tiles, Connor. He's eating Scrabble tiles for Christmas.
All right, moving on. King of Tokyo versus Spirit Island. Hands up for King of Tokyo.
I'm
that's it. All right.
I'm talking King of Tokyo. I think it might have been mine.
I think it was.
Steve put his hand up. He put his hand up. Steve put his hand up. I saw him. He scratched.
I scratched the back of my head. Yes. Mitch,
Island?
Adrian, and
I
Mike
haven't played Spirit Island, but I
So then you don't know. And how good is King of Tokyo?
think it's a better
Not as good as
game.
Spirit Island.
Wow.
I got King of Tokyo after you spoke about it, man. Come on. I just got Dark
This is
Edition.
great.
I know you did. I think
You're
there's
letting
one
me
thing
down.
I haven't played the original since
Just
I bought the Dark
because
Edition.
Jules has said Spirit Island is elegant 75,000 times doesn't make it a better game.
All right. Well, so if you're not quite sure what happened just there, after we spoke about it earlier before Dan dropped in about voting against your own game for a game you've never played before, it just happened.
Yeah.
Because Dan Spirit Island with Def, myself, and Connor, and that's enough to see it through. So
If you gave me 30 seconds, I reckon I could have swayed that vote.
that was yeah. I guarantee I would have voted for King of Tokyo when it originally went because I hadn't played Spirit Island at that point, but things have changed. I have a feeling this might go the wrong way purely because it's me, but I hope not. Seven Wonders versus Scythe. Votes for Seven Wonders.
No, I'm just kidding.
Mike votes for Seven Wonders, and that's it. So Scythe goes through. That's good. Makes you feel good. Oh, hang on. Sorry, that's a mistake. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh, dear.
It was Seven Wonders versus Zombicide.
Oh, well, Mike, you already voted. You already voted for Seven Wonders. You keep that vote.
Sorry. Seven Wonders v Zombicide. Votes for Seven Wonders.
Connor.
All right. 3. So
That's good.
Steve, Connor, and Def. Everyone else votes
That's good
for
because
Zombicide,
I didn't
so-
vote for Seven Wonders and it was in my top 10 against.
I was going to say, don't you love that game?
I was sort of just resigned to the fact, but that's okay.
All right. Ink and Gold versus Brass Birmingham. All right. Hands up for Ink and Gold. Just Mike. It was Mike's game. That's understandable. Brass Birmingham goes through. 5 Tribes versus Mansions of Madness. And hands up for 5 Tribes.
Was that yours again, Dan?
I think they're.
was.
I think they were.
Mansions
well, no,
is
actually,
mine.
Mansions wasn't, but
Manchester
it could easily have been. I'm gonna say 5 Tribes.
So who was the 5 Tribes votes? Mike, Dan, Def. Not enough to get it across the line, but close. So Mansions goes through. Too Many Bones versus El Grande. Votes for Too Many Bones.
Oh, yes.
That's a clean sweep. Sorry, Sarah. No one's here to protect your beige. Spyfall versus It's a Wonderful World. Hands up for Spyfall. Oh, Mike, just throw it in there, giving Connor some love, even though he doesn't give that love to his own game.
I am not a man of integrity. I'd like to-
It shows you how things can change. Arkham Horror 3rd Edition versus Mysterium. Hands up for Arkham Horror. Wow. Only 3 votes.
Hey,
Adrian, Mitch, and
it's
Dan.
Really?
Crazy.
Mysterium goes through.
I'm selling my Mysterium.
Why isn't that?
Yeah,
doing
it's just.
that?
I've got one of the expansions
I
in
won't do that.
Shrink.
Oh, hey, I'll take that off your hands.
Is that
Hang on.
the carnival?
Could be a
thing?
bidding
Yeah,
war.
sure.
Is that the
No, that's a
carnival thing,
different
Dan?
game. Different
No.
game. Mysterium Park.
That was
I was
Mysterium
gonna-
Park.
yeah.
That's actually got like code
Standalone,
names thing
hey.
where you got to Yeah.
I just think with the whole, like, I love the artwork in it, but if for the whole random picture thing, I'd rather play Dixit
Yeah, that's fair enough.
than Mysterium. Anyway, sorry, Steve.
All right, last one of the first round: Villagers versus Gaia Project. Vote for Villagers.
I'm watching
That's
you.
0.
that was
So Gaia
very
Project
quiet.
rolls on through. Okay.
Jules had a bad round.
Yeah.
You say that with
what happens.
the
When you don't rock up, when you don't turn up.
without a hint of a
Yeah, he
smile.
had
there.
Oh, I feel for him.
he had about as bad a first round as you did in the real bracket, Mitch.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're on to round 2. We're just going to keep cracking on.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, okay. First up, we have Terraforming Mars versus Dixit. Hands up for Terraforming Mars. Everyone
Okay,
except Dan.
that's all right.
So let's go through. Root versus A War of Whispers.
Ah.
Again.
Both of
Again.
Google's favorite games against each other.
Are we doing Root?
Yeah, this is Root. Oh, War of Whispers goes through. Sorry, mate.
It's in my top 10.
Sorry,
No,
I
you're
do
not.
like you both, but I really like A War of Whispers.
You haven't
Yeah.
played
And I
before.
haven't played Root enough, if I'm honest, Con. I've only played it twice. So.
Yeah, that's my own fault. Sorry, Leader Games.
I downloaded the app today
Um,
because of Steve on the last podcast. I got the Root app,
Yeah. it's
also
good.
known as Tinder. But sorry.
Love it.
I don't think I recommended that one.
I always
Actually-
lose at that game for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Off topic. My wife and I were talking like a couple of years ago about how we really wish that we didn't miss out on that whole dating. It's like you can't just as a married man of 14 years, you can't just download Tinder for a look.
No.
Mate, you could.
It's like because as far as from what I understand, it shows you pictures of people from your local area. Like people know me from my local area. Imagine that. It's like, oh, hey Helen, I saw your husband on Tinder last
Put
night.
a photo of me.
Steve,
You won't get any
there's
swipes,
only
it'll be
there's
fine.
only 7 people on Tinder in Concari.
I can't.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What are you going to do? Like,
yeah. I don't know, Mike. I wouldn't want to put your photo up. I can't have that many notifications. All right, sorry, off topic. We'll move it. We'll keep it going. So that's our first incorrect, first change for round 2. Great Western Trail versus On Mars. All right, votes for Great Western Trail. 3. So Steve, Mitch, Mike vote for Great Western Trail. Not enough. On Mars goes through, which is different to what it was in round 2. of the
You're all
real
dead to
bracket.
me.
What am I doing voting with Mitch? Jeez.
Well, I have to
it's,
have
Chris,
a
it's
chair
called
afterwards.
Christmas cheer, Mike. It's Christmas cheer. It's okay.
I feel dirty. I'm going to have a quick shower. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, it's waiting for this to load. Why is it not loading? All right, while it's loading because it's having issues. Seventh Continent versus Pandemic Legacy.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Votes for Seventh Continent.
Just are they technically both legacy games?
No,
Technically?
Seventh
No.
Continent's more of a
Yeah.
story
I don't know.
campaign game.
I'm changing.
That's
Hey,
Oh, there you go. He swayed the vote.
All right,
Voted and then
Well,
changed.
it's in my top 10s. I'll be
That doesn't count.
hypocritical to not put it first. But I love them
it's
both.
hard not to vote for Terraforming Mars. It is hard not to vote for Terraforming Mars, but in this situation, it's hard not to vote for Seventh Continent. But
Are you on Bonacor's payroll or stuff like that, by the way? Like, what's going on?
Well, Pandemic Legacy will go through because Dan was the only one who voted for Seventh Continent. That was a tough one. And it's not loading, so I'm just going to refresh the page. Sorry, folks. Live TV. There we are. Pandemic Legacy 1. Okay, next up, we have Arkham Horror, the Living Card Game versus Gloomhaven.
Let's fix this up this time.
I just got a bit sad. All right, votes for Arkham Horror, Living Card Game.
All in favour say aye.
Yes!
Don't hold back, Steve. Tell us how you really feel.
Connor and Dan are the only ones who vote for it.
Brilliant.
which means
Thanks, Dan.
Gloomhaven
No worries,
take
mate.
its rightful place.
I
in
knew
the
it.
round.
If it really meant anything to them, they would have had it in their top 10s.
That's true. Yeah. In fact, Gloomhaven was in my top 10 as well. So do you not understand how hard this was for me, Steve? How I had to just belittle
sorry,
Gloomhaven?
Just wiping away a tear of joy. That's all right. Vinhos versus Decrypto. Votes for Vinhos. Even though it knocked out Viticulture, it's a better game. Only one person voted for Decrypto, and that's Adrian, just holding on to hope that he'll get a game through.
Have you got nothing through yet, Eddie?
No, he had that.
I
think he's got a couple more. He's got Mansions of Madness to go.
Yeah.
All right. Cartographers versus Through the Ages. Votes for Cartographers.
All right.
Everyone except Adrian and Def. So Cartographers goes past into the third round.
Def's
Sorry,
heart
Def.
just broke a little bit.
Following in the footsteps of Codenames, which beat it in the real bracket on its giant killing ways. Everdell versus Gizmos.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, the balls.
Votes for Everdale.
Yep.
It's 6.
I'm sorry, Phil. I'm sorry, man.
7-0. For a second, I thought Adrian was voting for Gizmos. I was like, what? Everdell goes through unchallenged. All right, that's the first half done. We're into the second half now. Quacks of Quedlinburg versus Blood Rage. Votes for Quacks.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to vote for it. Yeah.
I one vote for Blood Rage, which was me. So Quacks goes through. Azul versus Feast for Odin. Votes for Azul. Connor and Dan. Everyone else is on a Feast for Odin.
Def.
Oh, Def as well.
Def.
It's great.
There's 3. Do I hear 4?
I think I would
Do I hear
prefer Feast
4
of Odin.
going once?
Oh, twice.
I've heard Adrian say a Feast for Odin, so I'm going with a Feast for Odin.
I think I prefer it.
It goes through. That's a change. I think Azul won that one.
Yeah, you're into worker placement at the moment, Eddie.
Yeah,
It's for Odin.
Yeah.
It would be
Oh,
right
yeah.
up your alley.
No, it's so
Yeah.
expensive though.
And Polyomino.
Oh.
Hey, no, it's not. You just got to come over, man.
Yeah, true.
That's all good. I got you. All right. Fleet the Dice Game versus Dice Throne. The Dice versus Dice.
Oh,
All right. Votes for Fleet the Dice Game.
yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
I didn't think that one. I thought Dice were gonna make that one.
Yeah. So
Really enjoyed
Mike and I
that
voted
too.
for Dice Throne. Everyone else voted for Fleet. Wow. I mean, I like Fleet the Dice Game, but it's no Dice Throne.
Yeah, but I
No,
vote
it's
for
way
it.
better.
I vote for it because I've got Dice Throne sitting on my shelf of shame. I haven't played it yet. I've played Fleet a few times. I know, but listen, all I hear about is Fleet is the best roll and write. It always referred to as being one of the top. So I think it's.
But Dice Throne isn't a roll and write, and all roll and writes are not as good as Dice Throne.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, then you're both wrong.
No.
Oops! I actually put Dice Throne through. I'll have to change it.
Yeah, he just makes
whoops.
rules up.
Yeah.
I said
She'll be
last
right.
By accident.
Just like Lorenzo and Magnifico. Don't forget about that.
time. That's whatever he wants.
Nemo's War versus Spirit Island.
Oh,
All right, vote for Nemo's War. 2, Bitch and Dan, not enough.
You
Spirit
say
Island
bitch?
goes through.
Yeah.
Very good. That's exactly what I heard.
Mitch beside me. That's
I'm
what
writing
I
that down.
How much eggnog are you drinking?
All
Sounded right
right.
to me.
Scythe versus Zombicide. Votes for Scythe.
that was a real bracket thing. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone but Mike. Yeah, that was the first real holy moly moment
That was
in
a
our bracket.
big fight. That
We
one.
had like
very worried.
600 votes or something. We're like, geez, people actually listen to our show. Scythe goes through, no changes there. Oh, this one, Brass Birmingham versus Mansions of Madness. Votes for Brass. 1, 2, 3, 4. Steve, Adrian, Mitch,
I
Def.
just think I'd like it more.
Yeah,
like
fair
it
enough.
That's
Yeah.
Adrian voting against the game he put up.
Again, you love brass, man.
And
100%.
that,
like-
Great
if
Western
you like
Trail,
Barrage,
Brass,
that's
Go
what you do.
Project. Oh my god.
I
and
almost bought it
is,
yesterday.
that is a change because Mansions actually beat Brass in the original.
Mm.
That was
was
because remember when
controversial, that one.
that was because Fantasy Flight shared our bracket battle on their
Yeah.
page.
Mm.
That was cool as. All right, next up, Too Many Bones versus It's a Wonderful World.
Uh-oh.
Votes for Too Many Bones. 1, 2, 3. Mike, Mitch, Connor. Not enough. It's a Wonderful World goes through, which is also a change. That didn't happen in the first round.
There you go,
In the
Adrian.
first
I
implementation.
know. Look at me go. With this
Adrian,
wonderful
third
world.
round.
I think I sold
and then-
more copies of that than Barrage, man. Like,
I'm just gonna put 7-0 in the next one because it's Mysterium versus Gaia Project. Anyone for Mysterium?
Oh, yeah, why not? I think it was mine. So
Connor voted against it in the first round.
don't
voted
do
for it
a
in the second
pity
round.
vote. Don't do Mysterium a pity vote. Give us some respect. Vote for Gaia
right.
Project.
Round 2 done. All right. Our
Worst
third
Christmas
round.
ever.
Number 1. It's time to say goodbye to Jules' last hope. Terraforming Mars versus a War of Whispers. I don't know if it's going to do it. Votes for Terraforming Mars. Yep.
That's a straight up hate vote, by the
2.
way. Straight up.
What? You can't be doing that.
Adrian and Dan vote for a War of Whispers.
Yeah, I would.
Not enough. Terraforming Mars goes through to round 4.
It's Christmas, man.
Not yet, it's not. Still one more
Says
day.
him wearing the Christmas hat.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Jules.
Yeah, you filthy animal. Yeah.
Jules is not going to like when he listens to this podcast. All right, next up, Great Western Trail versus Pandemic Legacy. Votes for Great Western
Sorry,
Trail.
did Great Western Trail get through in the last round?
Yeah, beat On Mars.
No, On Mars went through.
Did it?
Yeah.
Who's running this joint?
You just pressing
sure?
buttons at random, Steve.
Yeah,
Who voted
it was
for On
only
Mars?
I voted for
Chris
On
Lights
Mars.
are making the
everyone
decisions for
voted
you.
for On Mars except for me.
Yeah.
I voted for Great Western Trail.
Well,
oh, no,
that's
no,
good.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I voted for On Mars. Yep.
Jeez.
Sorry, I
But
don't know.
just
what
so
it-
we're clear, 5-minute dungeon is still out, isn't it?
Oh, you know what?
In.
That's where the page crapped itself and I had to refresh the page.
Those lights are
it would've-
interfering with your
I
brain.
reverted to what I previously was.
They're
Apologies.
They're plutonium bulbs. That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. You know that
Christmas
thing
decorations.
that Doc Emmett
Getting
Brown
a-
has in 55? That big thing? That's Steve. Like, he's like running around with that big old apparatus on his head.
No, I'm actually just having a lobotomy. All right, On Mars versus Pandemic Legacy. All right, votes for On Mars. 1, 2, 3. Not enough. Connor, Adrian, and Def vote for On Mars. Pandemic Legacy goes through.
That surprises me, Adrian. You voted for On Mars.
Yeah, I just think that
You
the
raved about
legacy.
Pandemic.
Yeah, it's a great experience and stuff, but it kind of comes around back to that whole once it's over, it's over.
Mm.
Yeah, and just On Mars, you could play forever, and I think
And then you'd be done your first game.
Well, you have to play
Yeah.
it forever, like because it's
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like
And
it, Def, but
just-
bloody
Just
hell.
remember that logic. Just remember that logic for the round 4 vote, Adrian. All right, Gloomhaven versus Vinhos. Hands for Gloomhaven. Oh,
I was gonna say,
just over the line.
Steve, Mike, and Dan get it across the line.
Dan left that last hand
Wow.
up for the suspense.
Dan, yeah.
No,
what
I
about
was
the-
debating.
That's wow. And Gloomhaven, Dan, that makes me so happy because you fought so hard against Gloomhaven when that was up against Pandemic in the bracket. I thought we were not going to be friends after that.
Oh, you are?
I was gonna say.
I wasn't sure where I stood, to be honest.
All right, Cartographers versus Everdell. Votes for Cartographers.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connor.
Have you people
Sorry, mate.
played Everdell?
Cartographers wasn't in your top 10.
Hang on.
It was in mine.
Everdell was
in my
the
top
only
10.
non-heavy
Oh, yeah,
game
yeah.
in your top 10. What's Def's had a
What?
No,
wow. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
anyway,
right.
if you missed what happened there, everyone voted for Cartographers,
Cartographers.
except for
Except-
Mike and Connor,
And
including Def, who had it like at number 7 of his top 10.
Well,
That
look,
is-
it wouldn't have mattered.
I
'cause
love
that was
cartographers. I'm going to go burn it now. This is rubbish.
Plus, it's one of Mitch's favourite games, so that's even more reason to.
Ah.
That is,
Hurt my
Def, I
feelings.
am. I mean, I thought you would hate doing that, seeing as that's what you do for a job, is making maps.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Jeff doesn't for his job. I don't think he sits there and draws in little Tetris shapes on the piece of paper and gets paid, the 5 day a week.
But I'd love to, so maybe there's that.
Do
not
you come
angry,
home?
I'm
Do you come
just
home to Dimmy every night, and she says, "How was your day?" Oh, there was one mountain.
See
I
how
couldn't get it
the-
surrounded. I couldn't get that mountain surrounded, and
There's another guy
Shoot.
working
That on
on
coin.
ogres on my map.
And
You
the
see how
kobolds
you-
attacked, yeah.
wow, I've got all
the fumes of
Got a lot of
alcohol,
focus.
Yeah, you're
the
out of
fumes of
focus, Steve.
alcohol and Steve's plutonium helmet have made his
He's
camera
back
go
in.
blurry.
Yeah,
There he
your
goes back.
bad
There he
choices
goes
stuffed
back
up
again.
Steve's camera.
Oh,
that was great. That might be the highlight of the pod so far. Is what happened to your camera.
what that was.
I loved it.
All right. Okay. The next one is a tough one as well. It's Quacks of Quedlinburg versus A Feast for Odin. Votes for Quacks.
Did you put Feast of Odin in, Mitch?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everyone.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think I would prefer Feast of Odin. So
I think everyone voted for Quacks except for Mitch and Adrian. Is that right?
Yeah,
correct.
All right. So Quacks goes through.
That's gross.
That was a really tight one. I think I had them 2 spots different in my top 20. So I actually went back and checked to make sure I was voting the right way. All right. Fleet the Dice Game versus Spirit Island.
What? How come I keep coming up in Spirit Island? Like it was laid out with all my stuff against Spirit Island.
Yeah, right. All right. Votes for Fleet.
I'm going Fleet.
Oh, everyone except Connor.
Bye bye,
Wow.
Jules. Bye bye.
So, Jules, I tried, mate. I tried. You know, me and you don't get along, and I really tried then. So,
And Fleet rolls into the next round.
I see what you did there.
Dice Room's still better.
parting shot.
Scythe versus Brass Birmingham. Votes for Scythe. Oh, thank God. Mitch, Jeff, and Dan don't vote. Which means
you
they
were
vote for Brass.
definitely
Not
were
enough.
worried.
So that one, pretty much everyone from now on, I'm going to be packing it. Scythe goes through 4-3 over Brass. And that was Sarah's last game, I think. All right, It's a Wonderful World versus Gaia Project. Votes for It's a Wonderful World.
I haven't played Gaia.
1, 2,
Hasn't stopped you
2.
before, mate. What's going on?
Adrian and Mike. Vote for
voted.
It's a Wonderful World. Not a...
Yeah, he's voting. He's voting.
That's
That's a
not a
vote.
vote.
That's a vote.
Not a vote.
That's
So Gaia
frustration.
Project goes through
That's
5
That's a stress tick.
We're taking my brain from the Gaia Project.
So he's having a flashback to playing Gaia Project. All right, hang on. This page is having real trouble uploading. Come on.
He's just cooking the books again. He's cooking the books.
Yeah, that's right.
He's making it work
Oh
for him.
no, there's been another.
Right,
Oh, dear.
Rise of Fenris have just gone through to the third round. All right, we're into the 4th round, guys.
Speedy.
So again, I'd like to remind Adrian about his theory on voting for Pandemic Legacy or voting against it, because Terraforming Mars versus Pandemic Legacy. Votes for Terraforming Mars.
Have to,
good enough.
Yeah,
Good enough.
it's a good game.
Mitch, Dan voted for Pandemic Legacy. Adrian was on the fence, but it didn't matter because we got up anyway.
We got up.
Yeah, that's right. I was on the winning team. I'm allowed to talk. I'm allowed to back myself. All right. Gloomhaven versus Cartographers. Vote for Gloomhaven. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. It's Cartographers.
Oh, wow.
Connor, Mike, and Steve.
Mitch is so happy. He doesn't care.
Cartographers.
Oh, that's
Knocked
fantastic.
out the behemoth.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's
is
ridiculous. How many
Wow.
boxes of cartographers can you
That's
fit
almost-
in Gloomhaven?
Or how many copies of cartographers can you buy?
That's almost as shocking as Arkham Horror beating Gloomhaven.
No, it's not. Shush.
Ah.
Shush. Hush your mouth.
All right, next up, Quacks of Quedlinburg versus Fleet the Dice Game.
Oh man.
Whoop.
Votes
Come
for
on.
Quacks.
I think I'm going to have to
Yeah.
have my bite of
There
Fleet.
we go.
Everyone except Mitch.
Life makes sense again.
All right. Save. And Scythe versus Gaia Project. Votes for Scythe. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's enough. Connor, Def, and Dan vote for Gaia Project. Scythe goes through to the semis. We'll just take stock just quickly. So our semi-finals are similar but different. So let's just click onto them. In the don't do that. This website is just giving me frustration. So Terraforming Mars and Arkham Horror were our bracket battle semis. Terraforming Mars and Cartographers this bracket battle semi. And Spirit Island and Scythe was the other one. And this is Quacks and Scythe, which Spirit Island knocked out Quacks in the quarters. So we're not actually too different, which is pretty cool. All right, but let's go. This is where it gets interesting. Terraforming Mars versus Cartographers. Votes for Terraforming Mars. 4-3.
Doing, Adrian?
Connor, Mitch, and Dan go for Cartographers, but it's not enough. Terraforming Mars.
I feel like I'm the kiss of death at the moment. Everything I vote for just doesn't get through.
All right. We'll have to see later in the podcast whether that is being serendipitous to what happens with the bracket battle. We won't know that just yet. And this page is giving me the poops. I have to keep refreshing it.
The poops.
Trying to keep it PG after someone thinks I said something I didn't earlier.
Hang on a second.
Did you vote for that one, Mike?
We started talking about
Poops is the green that Mike's got in his stocking filler.
I would buy Give Me the Poops. Is that set collection?
Set collection.
Is it bag building?
It's a bag building. You put the poops in. You just put it in.
I don't know. Sometimes when maybe it might be drafting.
You don't want the stretch goal.
Oh, jeez. Miniatures, anyone? Anyway, I've got out of focus again. Hello. Oh no, I'm still going to be out of focus. Okay, last one of the semis: Quacks versus Scythe. Votes for Quacks. Yeah.
Hey, gone.
Everyone except Adrian and I voted for Scythe. So Quacks goes through.
Everyone voted for Quacks, you mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, no,
Talking in books. Talking in books.
So I want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, here it is, the grand final. All right, no, we'll do the bronze playoff first. Cartographers versus Scythe. Votes for Cartographers. Oh, Mike. We are no longer friends.
Oh, yeah, like that's a loss.
Why is it coming down to me?
Oh, because these other guys didn't vote for Scythe before, and you did. I've already
changed your mind.
Steve's keeping.
You don't remember that I had Scythe in a bin in one of the podcasts?
Yeah, you came back. You voted for it. So, forgive and forget. But you're off the Christmas card list. But so, Cartographers finishes third. So, Scythe 4, Cartographers 3, Terraforming Mars v Quacks. Votes for Terraforming Mars. Oh, not enough. Steve, myself, Adrian, and Def vote for Terraforming Mars, but it's not enough. Quacks of Quedlinburg is this podcast's favorite board game.
That makes sense. It
does make sense. I'm not unhappy with that result. So, Quacks number 1, Terraforming Mars number 2, Cartographers number 3, and Scythe number 4. That's a pretty good list of 4 games. I'd happily play any one of those games.
I reckon we run that again right now. It's going to give us a different result.
Yeah, don't forget.
Very possible.
Let's go again. Let's just go again.
We got other stuff to do, like the actual bracket. So what a great segue into the actual bracket. So this one is the last semi-final. This will determine the... Oh, that's very bright. Hang on. I'll just move that off my screen. All right. So this will determine who goes up against Scythe in the grand final. So this is Terraforming Mars versus Arkham Horror, the living card game. This was super close again, and it did get shared to a few different pages, but I think it was equally shared amongst everybody. Even Bonnicore got on and threw it on Twitter, so that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen, again. Yeah.
How do you think it ended up? I can tell you, before we say, that this is another one of those ones where one platform had a winner, and then the other 2 platforms had a different winner.
I did see that.
Can you also can you say how how many votes are between the 2? Do you know what I mean? If there's 10 votes or anything like that, is there a way of saying
in total, there's 16 votes difference.
Ooh. Arkham LCG.
I think it's
Please be
Arkham.
Terraforming Mars, please.
All right, so starting with our Facebook page. Facebook page had 4 votes for Arkham and 11 votes for Terraforming Mars. But on the Facebook community, Arkham Horror had 149 votes, Terraforming Mars 118.
Yeah, boy.
On Instagram, Arkham Horror, the living. So at this point, Arkham Horror is up by about, I don't know, 25, 30-ish. Is that too big to come back from? Instagram, 22 votes for Arkham Horror, the living card game. 62 votes for Terraforming Mars.
Oh, it's going out.
Wow.
Terraforming got through.
Terraforming Mars goes through 175 to 191.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure.
Instagram.
Thank you
Yeah.
for your
Instagram
time.
is
I am
my,
now resigning from
See you
the
next year.
Barbecue podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, that's
Paul.
all good. If you
Dan's
you
out
two-
as well.
Are you going
What's
to take your
interesting
jumper off
about
and
it-
throw it across the room, Connor?
I don't have my copy.
What's interesting about that is that Dan and Connor are both the ones that are super upset by that, and they run our Instagram, which is where Terraforming Mars won by 40 votes. So that's so interesting that it was 31 votes more on Facebook and 40 votes more on Instagram. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was just too arrogant for my own good. I just
So there
You
we
didn't
go.
word it properly, Connor. You should have worded it more like, vote for this.
well, I just should
Don't
have,
vote for that.
I just should have not even made it a poll. Just like question
Yeah,
Arkham Horror. Like,
Arkham Horror.
You want Arkham Horror to win or Terraforming Mars to lose?
You know what, Connor? In the end, it didn't matter what you did because the better game won.
yeah.
That leaves us setting up the grand final, which just so happens to be my number 1 and number 2 game of all time.
Isn't that
Isn't
funny?
that funny?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
It's a-
selling books, man.
it's really
Good
How
selling books.
convenient.
Yeah.
Banker beats a good player any day.
We need an audit.
All right, so this is the grand final. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it up tonight. This will run through to our New Year's Eve episode. So it'll run for a week this time. So you've got plenty of time to cast your votes. Terraforming Mars v Scythe. This is number 4 on BGG versus number 11 on BGG. These are both amazing games. We don't have to talk about how great they are. We've done that for 5 rounds or 6 rounds or something already. So just get out there and vote. To do that, you can do it at a few places. You can go to the Board Game Barbecue Community Facebook page, our group, I should say, Facebook group, and find this the picture that goes with this and vote with the emoji that's attached to the game that you want to see go through. You can go to our Instagram where all the Terraforming Mars fans hang out, and you can vote there via the Instagram story. We might actually try and run a couple of stories to keep it going, so there's more chances. Although then that might just sway it too much in one game's favor.
Well,
so
you'll
we'll
get,
kind of
you get the
and
same
that's
people voting more than once.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the problem. Yeah, good point. So we'll just do it. You have to get in early for Instagram. You have to get in early for Facebook page. But yeah, the Facebook community one will run for the full 7 days. So we'll determine the winner of the board game bracket on New Year's Eve.
Can I just quickly say something? I have nothing to do with the behind the scenes on the bracket. So yeah, well done for everybody who did all of the stuff to do with that. It's been really good. Like Connor Instagrams, Facebook posts, all that stuff. It's run really smoothly. It's been really fun.
And Jules
been
made some
great.
really good graphics. He's
Yeah.
done that
Oh,
since day
yeah.
one. So thanks again to
He
Jules.
does those massive boxes of a War of Whispers and that tiny little
Yeah.
box of Root.
What's that? What game's it up against? So
I'll
what
just
I
wait for
do
the other
is
one.
I make Root really big for the text, and then War Whispers quite small. So
Hard feelings.
It's been great. Well done, guys.
yeah, no, it's great. It was so much fun, and I think we all give each other a hard time, but it's great to see people getting out and explaining why this is their might not be their favorite game, but why this game's better. Apples versus oranges, bicycles versus ice cream sandwiches, whatever we're going to do. So, yeah.
It's also worth pointing out too. There's no better way to see how big our community is than looking at this bracket, because those first couple of games, they were winning by votes of like 9-7.
Yeah.
And then Mitch had a few go up on BGR, and that sort of boosted our numbers for the voting, but not on our own page. And then there was a distinct decision about a quarter of the way through the first round that we'll just do it on our own. We don't need to use other pages. And now we're getting like that last bracket was about 300 over 300 votes. We've had votes up over 800 at times. So it's just crazy. So a massive thank you to everyone who's voted and everyone who's part of our community. We very greatly appreciate it.
And yeah, thanks for sharing it, because it is really funny seeing the votes go storming up in one game, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" They freak out, and then it gets voted elsewhere, and it's hilarious. It's so fun. Like
a little, really... I think it's probably fair to share a little bit of behind the curtain stuff here. So, the first game that was shared, the first battle that was shared outwardly was Zombicide versus Scythe, and we set it up. It went live. I was having a game day that day. And I've jumped on at about 12 o'clock and Scythe's up by about 40 or 50 votes. I'm like, yeah, sweet as, got it in the bag. It probably wasn't even that high back then. I'm probably adding votes. It was probably like 20, but that was enough at that point. And then I've gone back to my game, which was Scythe actually, funnily enough. And then I've jumped back and Zombicide is winning by like 200. Like, what has happened? And then Mike shared it to all the Zombicide pages. So then I've shared it to Scythe, and I just sat there and refreshed the page while I watched Scythe gradually go past Zombicide and keep going up. And I was like, how cool is this? And then over the course of the next few rounds, it sort of changed a little bit, and people were like, oh, I wish people weren't sharing because, you know, for whatever reason, my game's losing and whatever else. So there was this should we share, should we not share thing. I do think there was one game that was a casualty of the sharing more than any other game. Right. No, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Quacks versus Spirit Island. When Spirit Island's page got shared, I'm like, what are you going to do? Talk to the 3 people who are on the Quacks of Quedlinburg official Facebook page?
Yeah.
Quacks isn't a game where you have a page, a community that talks about strategy. So that I think Quacks probably would have beaten Spirit Island without that. But I honestly think the bracket wouldn't have been too different if we didn't share it at all. I mean, we just proved it.
Look at
we
us.
had almost
agreed.
Yeah. So with all the sharing, all it did was brought more people to our podcast, brought more people to our community, and we're very thankful for that. So big thank you to all those people. All right, well, that's that done. Get out there and vote for your favorite game between Terraforming Mars and Scythe, and maybe in the comments below, if Terraforming Mars or Scythe is actually your favorite game, maybe put a little blurb there about why it is. It'd be interesting to read those stories for sure.
Hey, Stephen Bonacore, former, now retired, president of Stronghold Games, and now the podfather of gaming. And you have to go and vote for Terraforming Mars as the best board game ever over Scythe. Of course it is. I can give you so many reasons for that. Number 4 ranked game, best card drafting, hand management, 6 resource management, set collection, tile placement, game with variable player powers that you can also play solo. Come on, it's got something for everyone. Scythe, come on. This is the game you have to win with. This is the game. And let's face it, if you don't vote for it, Stronghold can't sell more games, and my retirement money, it goes out the window. I need the retirement money. I mean, I got no income now. Go vote Terraforming Mars. Also, Jamie Stegmeyer, he refused to come on here. I came on here for you. Go vote Terraforming Mars. I love Jamie, but go vote Terraforming Mars.
We've also got some other important information to attend to, and that is that in the last couple of days, we hit 1,000 members on our Facebook page. So that is a huge Facebook community, I should say. I keep saying page, community. So that's a huge achievement for us. And we thought, what better way to celebrate that achievement? Well, actually, Mitch put it up a couple of weeks ago. We're going to give away a copy of a quarter finalist in the bracket battle, which was It's a Wonderful World. We're giving that away to one of those 1,000 people. So let's see if we can make that happen. I think Connor's got the magic generator.
So I've got
and Mitch
the
has got
name
the
generator. So our members' names have gone in here, and I'm just going to press the button here. So it's generating now, and our winning number is, would you believe it? It's Thomas Rosner. So Thomas,
hey. I mean, it's not for me. I got to send the game to bloody Germany.
So yes, well done to Thomas. Thomas has been one of our first members of the community, members of our Discord. So really, really great. But thank you to all our Facebook community members, our Discord members, all our listeners out there. It's been a fantastic. What are we doing this for? 8 months now, maybe? I don't know. When did we launch? April. So, yeah.
And not just to join the community, but for everyone's involvement as well. Mm-hmm. People have been getting involved, posting fulfilling their oaths. They've been doing that. playing games, joining in the Saturday silliness, and even just posting photos on the Facebook community of the games that they're playing and sharing it and stuff. It's been awesome.
Right. So Thomas, I think, is our first international winner too.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
enjoy that postage, Steve.
Is that after Bubba's beach house?
Bubba's what house?
Yeah. Hang on. Now that time, that's what I think I heard. Now, you know what? That was so much fun. Let's do it again. I've got a copy of The Crew. Let's give that away too.
Right now. Right now.
Why not? Let's do it.
Do another one.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
I got a copy of Black Hole Hong Kong. Let's give that away.
Never played.
Right. Okay. Ready? Let's go. And it is Rosie Reynolds. Rosie Reynolds is our
Ooh, well done,
right
Rosie.
now, Rosie. So
Rosie.
a copy of The Crew. Fantastic.
That's awesome. All right. We'll get in touch with you and get your addresses and whatnot in the through whatever media works best for you. And that is our giveaways done for 2020. I'm sure we'll have plenty more in 2021 unless anyone else wants to throw a game up. No, good, very good. So we'll move on to what are we doing next?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in charge. What are we doing next? What's the plan?
Anyone got any ideas? Cool. All right. So
Didn't you have a list of things like, we're professional and all, so I'm assuming you had an agenda written down.
That was it. That was it.
that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
We ticked everything off the list.
His Christmas lights need recharge.
So has anyone? Well, let's go back to our, I guess, our kind of usual format. Then, has anyone played any sizzling games lately that they wanted to talk about? Wow.
No. Oh, you just shocked me.
I can talk about.
I was on the last
but-
pod, so
What? No, hang on. Adrian, you want to say something?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's crazy.
knock me
But
down.
it's kind of a bit of an anachrony. Like I would be stealing from the future to feed the past, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because I talked about this on a pod that we've got set up that's getting released on the 27th, so I can't.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. All right. Well, I don't know. Is anyone? Well, okay. Let's go. What was the last game you played? Good or bad?
I'll jump in because the last game I played was with you guys, and it was Smartphone Inc.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah,
let's talk about that because one thing since playing that game the other night, it's been bouncing around in my head constantly. And the one thing that's kind of been a recurring theme is everyone that I've heard have played that game has gone, oh, it's a great economic game. I don't think it is. I think it's area control.
It's definitely got an element of area control for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the economics in it. I mean, it's not mathy. There's no like, oh, you need to build up wealth. Like you don't really generate money. Do you know what I mean? It's not about spending money, being efficient with your resources money wise. Sure, every round the money you get is victory points essentially because you sell your phones for a certain amount of money based on whatever you decided to sell it at. But I think it's like the bulk of the money, the bulk of the victory points that you get is from controlling the areas, not necessarily from managing your finances. So I just think there's more area control to it. Like if you, and maybe it's only the one. I've only played it once, so maybe that's just the one particular time we played. The overriding strategy that controlled that game, dominated your ability to score or lose points, was getting into those areas first.
But wouldn't you argue, though, that in order to get into those areas, you need to be getting high production and low costs to be able to push into those areas? So maybe, I think it's still an economic game. I get what you mean. It's not really...
Yes and no. So you get in those areas, you get a couple of transports, you're in. You only need one tower in there. You know what I mean? Once you're in, you're in. And then if you can be first and block out that area... everyone that comes after you is just toast. What's that? Timeout?
No, that's you.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
That's you. This. Well, I put that.
No, you're probably right. But then again, you can also argue that it's a bit of an engine builder as well.
Yeah, it is.
As you get those, and it's got a few things going on, but sure. But area control is definitely a big part of that game for sure.
Yeah. And having said that, I'm not saying it's bad. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I think I said to you guys, I'm falling asleep dreaming about how many cubes I can get out to put on the board.
Obviously, I love that game. It's a great game. I'm glad. I actually had a chance to speak to Adrian about it, and he really enjoyed it as well. And I was worried because there was a moment, and we've heard Mitch talk about, and this is a little bit foreshadowing because you will hear me say this in the next podcast as well. But we heard Mitch talk about when he plays Gaia Project and he has brain burn. When I looked at Mitch about halfway through round one, I'm like, oh, Mitch is going to hate this because I saw the brain burn live.
It wasn't as bad as Gaia Project. I wasn't groaning yet.
But by midway through, or probably the end of round two, it turned from a game where everyone was thinking about what they were doing to being angry at other people for what they've done. I'm like, they're getting the game now. It's cool.
Yeah, I was going to say the groaning didn't start until round 3 when MJ came and just ruined my whole game.
I have to say as well, a slight bit of foreshadowing for what we discussed. You were concerned because we were ridiculing the game. But that was the best bit. We were just having a laugh. Like, I loved that game. It was a great time. But just me and Mitch doing loads of this with these boards and you with the player aid and stuff. Oh, it was so fun.
Player aid was awesome.
The player aid was a mandatory. Best player aid I've ever seen in a game.
This doesn't make sense.
For those that don't get the player aid gag, you've got these screens to block off so other people can't see what you're planning on doing, and inside all the screens is just all of your times tables. So that when you're working out your score at the end of each round, you can go, "What's 4 times 5 again?" I'm 20. 20. I got 20 points.
Hey.
I was dying with laughter. It was so fun.
Yeah, it's good.
The game that we played yesterday, maybe, is on the totally opposite spectrum. It was Just One, which my family absolutely loved. Okay. And I can see that being, that's it's kind of cool because it's like categories where, if you have the same answer as someone else, it goes. So you have to really think. And I think one of the words that we had to do was ketchup, which is funny because we don't say ketchup. No, sorry, it was mustard. It was mustard, and then we're like whispering to each other, "Is hot dog 1 word or 2 words?" and then we're like, and then they're like, "Oh," and they're like, and then I knew what someone's going to put down. I said, "You can't do that. That's 2 words." And then the person who's had it in front of them was like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you." And then it was funny because no one put down ketchup because everyone thought that everyone else is going to put down ketchup. So sometimes it gets so you think about it too much to the point where you lose the obvious. But no, it's really, really good, and I can definitely see it being in that. I know it's won a few awards and things like that, but in that group of like the code names, the Spyfall, the Decrypto, those type of games where you just get it out, and because it plays at such high numbers and it's so easy. I just think of my family.
What was your player count, Connor?
Maybe 6. Yeah, 6 people, maybe. Yeah. We had all of them but one. And it was all the way from my niece, who's like 8, to my mum and dad, who obviously, So they thought it was really, really good.
We mentioned it briefly on the pod that I was on with Mitch and Sarah, and we sort of wondered whether if you played it at an extremely high count, whether it would be even more difficult because suddenly everyone's cancelling everyone's answers out. You got to be more obscure.
I've had both sides of that, Dan. I ran this as a warm-up for a all-in team meeting for my workplace. It had about 15 or 16 people. And it was the word was penguin. The word was penguin, right? And out of everyone, we only had one unique answer.
Yeah.
So every answer got cast out. That unique answer was Pingu, and they got it.
Oh,
wow. That's amazing.
But then on the other side of it, a great one was it's not my game. It was another story. But in the 3-player variant, you write down 2 words, and this person's word was cream. And so one person thought, I'll be smart to do like peaches and, so it kind of tells the story, peaches and cream. but then the other person wrote
You're going to say
peaches
someone did peaches.
and dessert. So the options they had was and dessert to pick from.
So did they guess Maine? Did they say Maine and dessert? Like Maine?
Well, I actually don't know what they did guess, but they didn't guess.
That would have been my answer.
So-
It would have been Maine.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a 3-player variant. That's awesome.
Hmm.
We might bust it out Christmas night now, knowing that.
Mm,
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
just 2.
Yeah.
Well, we had a good day today. I went over one of my best mates' place and bought a few games for his little girls. So I had a day of playing, not really playing, but playing around with Rory story cubes, making up some stories with the girls.
Good.
Love 'em.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. And watching the little brains tick, and one's I think 11, one's 6. So watching their brains tick was really cute to watch. Then we got them the animal version of Spot It or Double. Which so much fun. Like we just had a blast doing that, and the youngest one smashed us in one of the games. Like you sort of worry that you have to sort of hold back a little bit to let them, get it, and they were just grabbing cars left, right, and center.
That's because Mike, you're old and your reflexes are slow
I know,
compared
I know.
to
I'm not good. I
And
struggle.
they have a
man.
higher
I
IQ
struggle.
than him.
And then we played Sushi Go, and that was great too. So it was a good day of like small games and introducing kids to some new games and trying to create some future gamers. So no, it was a great day of playing little games. It was really fun.
Three really good games too.
Yeah. So side story though, one thing I wanted to share that I thought was funny. I don't know if you've had this similar experience. I was at my I was in Mind Games in Melbourne, and I was at the register trying to buy Sushi Go for them. And I heard a couple come into the store and go up to one of the people. So we go, "Oh, hi, we don't really play many board games, but we do a board game night at a friend's house every month, and it's our turn to bring a board game. They're a lively bunch and they're actors. What should we bring?" And I was just like, I want to jump in this conversation so bad. I was biting my tongue. My girlfriend's like, don't do it. Like she could just see that I was just revving up. I was revving up, and she already pulled out a few games. She pulled out Telestrations. I'm like, all right, that's a good one. But I'm like, I just want to suggest things right now, like just biting my tongue. But yeah, that was great.
Try this. Campaign of North Africa.
yeah, no worries.
I thought you were going to say Freedom, the Underground Railway.
What about you, Def? What was the last game you played?
We played one this afternoon, Tracking the World, with my family. And we really enjoyed it. I even managed to come in third, beating my 9-year-old. So go me. It's a good game. It's a good balance of a family game open enough to younger children, younger meaning 8-9-year-olds, and challenging enough for older children and adults as well. And it just strikes a very good balance, I think, between those. We really enjoyed that. We'll surely playing that again.
Nice. Yeah,
I wondered about that game in terms of like teaching my boys, the geography and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's really good, I think, because it has this cartoonish map where it has like a very distinctive separate color for every continent or every region of the world. So, they don't need to know the surroundings or the borders of North America, but they can see it's, one specific color. So they say, oh, right. So if I get all the cubes and if I visit all those places in that area, in that red area, then I'm going to grab this map token here, and then so it's a good game to play in that age range. I find we really enjoyed it.
I really think it's I don't know if it's going to get the marketing push, but if Ticket to Ride came out today and Trekking the World came out today, I think Trekking the World would be the success.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Connor, what have you been playing?
He said just one.
Yeah, sorry.
I put the cognac down. Oh my word!
I told you it's the plutonium.
Well, jump cut. Adrian, what was your last game? Blackout Hong Kong?
No, I did mine as well. It was with you. It was
Smartphone.
Oh,
Smartphone Inc. Yeah.
Sorry, of course, yes. That was the last game you played. You haven't played since then.
I think
dude, I've been flat out.
No, I was on the pod the other night, so the last games we played were Pandemic. We started Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Oh, no, I lied. We've played Slide Quest yesterday afternoon. So I broke that out again. I played that with my wife and my son, and we got to level 10.
That may or may not have arrived under the Christmas tree this afternoon.
Now. Yeah, good fun.
Nice. The last one I played was Wingspan. Again, I can't get enough of that at the moment.
With the Oceanic?
No, actually, just on the app. Not the app. And I've developed a little bit of a habit because when I do the editing now, because my editing software that I used to use used to be able to listen to it at double speed to edit, but my current one doesn't. So I kind of don't need to listen as intently because everything's a bit slower, so you pick up on things a bit quicker. So I listen while playing Wingspan and Terraforming Mars on my iPad at the same time.
Oh, okay. So did you just say that you're just pressing buttons in random when you're editing?
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed is that when I did this for the first time the other night, I lost both games. And I'm like, oh no, that wasn't because I was too much going on. And then I lost again last night, both games. So, but technically, Wingspan was the last game I played because it finished after Terraforming Mars. So, I spoke about apps a couple of episodes ago. It is a really good app. It's not on iOS or Android yet, but that apparently was supposed to happen on like the 21st of December. So I don't know what's held it up, but the Steam app is quite good. And the physical version is amazing, and the Oceania expansion is it's all time. That's just like
I finally
excellent.
got it. It came like a day or the day, like the morning before I drove up to Kilmore. So everyone's just like, oh, look at the Kookaburra and the Tawny Frog now. Everyone's just like, it's really interesting because like I love the art and the fact that when the birds, looking at the birds, but there's some sort of awesome attachment that you have when the birds are literally sitting in your front yard and you can see them. Oh,
for
pooped
sure.
on my car. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I need to give a shout out to my brother here because he came up with a house rule for the Oceania expansion, and I think it's classic. And if I didn't just sell Flame Rouge, I'd do it. But what he's got is he's made a deck of a handful of so if you don't know how Flame Rouge works, there's exhaustion cards that are not good, and then there's just other cyclist cards that are good. So he's made a small deck of a mixture of those. And if you've got the Magpie, whenever it's your turn, you draw from that deck, and if you get the exhausted rider, you get 2 victory points because you've attacked the rider. And if like, how good's that? I'm like, it's great. Good, except. And we're talking about, I'm like, it sounds a little bit overpowered because that's like 2 victory points every time. Like, and it was 1 victory point if you got the other rider. And he's like, yeah, you're right. It's 4 rounds in Wingspan. So I said, just make the 3rd round spring. And it only happens in spring.
Yeah.
So then at best, you can only get 6 because there's 6 turns in the spring. So that's the Mark Chivers variant to the Magpie card in Wingspan Oceania. You got to have Flame Rouge, though. But I guess you don't really, but yeah.
What do you boys reckon? I actually just got Wingspan and I haven't actually played a full game of it before. Should I jump in and straight away grab that expansion, or should I wait and get a few players out of this first, you reckon?
See if you like it.
Play the base game first.
Yeah, if you like it. Because it's not for everyone. Regardless of what board game media would make you think. But it's not for everyone. But if that's the case and you do like it, I would grab the Oceania one first because you will. You'll just be like, oh, I love these birds. They're so good. Okay.
Have you played the Oceania one, Connor?
I haven't yet, no. But I know like with the Nectar and the new boards, and I looked at with the boards and the fact that when you get to the end, you get an extra of whether it's eggs or food. And when I saw that, I was like, that is so much better because I didn't like the fact you had to spend another resource to get one. And I just think that'll accelerate things a bit faster.
So a question for you, Steve. I'm assuming Steve's the only one's played it so far?
No, I've played it as well. We've played it.
So what do you guys do? So I've played it once as well. Do you just grab half of the general deck and then grab the new Oceania cards and shuffle them in? So just like a random sampling of what the old deck was, or what? How do you prep your deck?
The entire initial deck, shuffle in the Oceania expansion cards, and that's it.
You just mix them all in.
No, I've removed the European expansion cards.
Yeah. Well,
you can still have those in, but
yeah.
what I did, because I've got the European expansion in, I halved the deck and mixed the Australian cards into half the deck.
Right.
The only issue is that the other half of the deck doesn't get used. So then after a few plays, I went through and I picked all the Australian deck out and then mixed them in the other half of the deck. Because I think over time I'll just go to mixing them all across all decks. But you really want to get the benefits of that Oceania expansion.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, right? Because if you just, it's not that many cards. If you're mixing everything in together, then you might only get a couple of Oceania cards out in the game.
Then again, though, the cards aren't what make that expansion great. What makes that expansion great is the new dice, the new and the nectar, which is the new resource, which you can use on any birds. That's not relevant necessarily to an Australian bird. So it's not absolutely necessary. Like, you could theoretically play that game without any of the cards from Oceania, but on the new boards with the new dice, and you're fine.
But everyone wants to get the bin chicken, right? So
exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The Major Mitchell bird is a bit of a special bird at our house because my wife did this beautiful. She went into this art competition for portraits, and everyone's doing like human portraits. She did a portrait of a Major Mitchell, and it looked amazing. It was so good. So when I got the Major Mitchell, I was like, have to play this card, even if it's not a good card, which it was a good card, but still, yeah. All right, well, that might do us for tonight, guys. We're going to go over and wrap some more presents and get ready for the big guy to come down and give us some more
Big
presents.
Man in red.
Man, I already left. What are you talking about?
Christmas Eve, that's right.
I've been there. The other big guy. Got it. I got it. I'm with you now.
Hang on. I've seen a chat thing. Oh, really? Okay. Looks like we're doing a redraw for the crew. Because Rose Reynolds is a relation to a podcast member, so we can't have any shenanigans. We need to do a redraw.
All right.
I thought that was a joke.
Right.
Generator going.
I thought that was a joke. I was like, what?
It's nice to see parents supporting the podcast.
Very good. Very good.
Give me
Mikey could have had himself a free copy of the crew.
I know.
Hang on. So isn't like 80% of our community members from Connor's family?
How funny that it wasn't someone from Connor's family who won the first family prize. That's awesome.
All right, here we go. I'll do it again then. Ready? All right, here we go. Gotta find him.
Mary Divine.
Mary. Oh, he's a good Irish name, actually. Good point.
Intense. I'm watching his eyes flick around.
It is Tim Fiscus. So Tim Fiscus.
Well done, Tim.
I knew Tim.
Well done, Tim. Good stuff.
Is that anybody's uncle?
The Divine and Fiscus are definitely like a couple of cousins removed, so I think it's
okay.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations
Well done,
to Thomas
Tim.
and Tim.
Yes, the two T's.
Congrats.
Well done.
2 T's, yep. All right, and with that, we'll finish it off. Before we head, just a big thank you to our sponsors, Advent Games. They've done a great job with us this year, helping us running a few competitions and donated games and postage for those. So a big thank you to Dean and the crew at Advent. Also, a massive thank you to all of our Patreon members who have financially supported our podcast. It really means a lot to us, and we joke about the cost of postage and things like that, but that's what we use that money for, as well as other things. So we are able to do these things. We're able to offer these things to the listeners of our podcast. So a big thank you. If you would like to become a Patreon, basically what you get for your money is obviously supporting the show, which is first and foremost. But then you also get a bit of extra content. You may have heard us refer to it a bit tonight. We've just had the 12 Pods of Christmas, which has got one episode more to drop, which obviously will be the last one, Christmas Eve, which will be also when this drops. But on top of that, we have a regular exclusive content for that as well. So if you want to hear more of us for some reason, then become a Patreon member. But if you don't become a Patreon member, it's totally fine. We don't expect it of people, and you'll always get your 2 episodes a week from us. That'll never change unless we get really sick of it. But we hope that will never happen. So on top of that, though, just a quick shout out to where you can find us. Discord is probably a great place to come across us. And over the next couple of weeks, we may be there a bit more often and a bit more stranger hours, because obviously some of us have got holidays and whatnot. So we're on there playing games, teaching games, or just up for a chat in there quite regularly. You can catch the Board Game Barbecue Community Facebook group, which is obviously where you can vote on the bracket, as well as just have general chats about things. We talk about the episodes that we're doing. We also, Dan does his Saturday silliness, which will be interesting on, what would it be, Boxing Day?
Yeah,
next one.
I'm bringing back Meme Wars.
Very good.
Yeah.
Round 2, the quickening.
Meme Wars round 2, very good. So, and then other content on there all the time as well. Check out our Instagram, which is where we have a lot of our beautiful people who take photos of games when they can remember to put them up there. I never remember, so you'll never see any of mine. And then you'll find us on Twitter. Our website, though, www.boardgamebarbecue.com, has all the information that I just spoke about. So I should have just said that at the start and shut up, and we would have finished a long time ago. But you'll go there, you'll find out little bios about us. You'll find a link to the Patreon. You'll find a link to our merch store. A few of us tonight are wearing the Board Game Barbecue shirts. So if you think they look a bit fresh, you can go and order your own from there. But with that, we're pretty much done. So Merry Christmas to all of our listeners. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas day. Hope Santa delivers many games, and hopefully none of them are Arkham Horror: The Living Card Game. Yeah, no, actually, that's not true. If you love Arkham, I hope you get everything. Just a big thank you to all of this podcast crew, and of course Jules and Sarah, who couldn't make it tonight. Definitely been the best with all the crap that's happened in 2020. This has been the best thing that's happened probably in the last 10 years. So massive thanks to all of you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.
We'll see you for our New Year's Eve episode, but we'll also have an episode coming out on the 27th as well. And it's a really cool one. Top 10 of 2020. So, yeah. All right. With that, see you later, guys. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.